Okay, now it's time to get into our three-part series on the Rickettsia species. And this means we'll have a general review of the Ricketts genus, and then go into talking about Ricketts rickettsii and Ricketts prowazekii. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but luckily it's not that complicated. Our scene for the Ricketts genus will be revolving around a tennis match, and this is going to take place inside of a stadium. We've made it all happen inside of a stadium as opposed to outside, because Ricketts is obligate intracellular. We've also made all of the crowd inside the stadium wearing all white, and this is to represent that it doesn't take up gram stain very well, even though it is technically classified as a gram negative. Okay, let's get to drawing out our characters. We'll start by drawing a tennis coach over on the right, holding out an energy drink called NAD+. And the coach symbolizes the main reason why Ricketts is obligate intracellular. These bacteria are unable to produce two important energetic compounds, and instead they get them from eukaryotic cells. And we need to know what these two compounds are. First, the word coach has CoA in it, as indicated on his shirt. And CoA is one of these components necessary for bacterial replication. The energy drink labeled NAD+, will remind you that NAD+ is the other substrate important for bacterial growth and replication. Now let's give Coach a basket of tennis balls, a staple of all tennis coaches. Notice we've drawn the balls to look deflated and somewhat ovoid. Well, this is because Ricketts are described as having a coxobacillary shape, or shaped somewhere between a cocci and a bacilli. We've made them really light pink to remind you that they're weakly gram negative. Now let's draw in our world-famous tennis champions, Wheel and Felix. The Wheel-Felix test is an agglutination test used to diagnose rickettsial infections. It specifically tests for the cross-reactivity between Ricketts species and Proteus vulgaris. Unfortunately, the test is not that sensitive or specific, but it's still a commonly tested concept. So we have Wheel and Felix here to help you remember it. As you can see, Wheel is celebrating his win, whereas Felix is frustrated from losing and is holding his head and sweating, which is meant to symbolize the general prodromal symptoms of an infection with Ricketts species, more specifically headache and fever. However, a more unique symptom that you should associate with rickettsial infections is vasculitis. To represent vasculitis, we'll make the strings of the tennis rackets and the net bright red to make them look like thin blood vessels of capillary beds. They're broken to symbolize their inflammation and destruction from vasculitis. Notice around these rackets here, the clay court looks granular and bumpy. This is meant to resemble the rash that comes with these vasculitides. We'll talk a little bit more about these rashes when we talk about the two groups individually. Finally, let's talk treatment. Rickettsia are generally susceptible to doxycycline and other tetracyclines, and this is the drug of choice. So we'll add a sponsor for this tournament, Ricketts tires. The wheel we've drawn is shaped like a bicycle wheel, as is the wheel on the tennis ball basket. These bike wheels are our recurring symbol for doxycycline. And that's all. So that's a brief overview video of the Ricketts genus. In the next couple of videos, we'll detail two important Ricketts species.